Good morning, traders. This is Perry Wilkie with StartupTrading.com. It is 8:46 a.m. Eastern Time on Thursday, December 3rd, 2020. So just looking back real quick at the year to date, just a reminder of, where the markets actually are. This is the pre-COVID back in January, right? February, had our epic plunge, climb back up. I do have some longer term profit targets that I'm looking at. The first one is at 37.38. That has been in place for quite some time. So as we look at, as we, inch our way up to that over the next period of time, and we'll see, how long it takes to actually get there. That's where I'm looking for a potential stall or, to see what happens when we get there. Until then, we're just meandering around as we zoom into really the more recent action. We're right now we're printing 36.66, which will be above yesterday's point of control, which was 36.61 quarter. We're gonna open up near all-time highs. The all-time high right now for the bell is 77 quarter, and just want to remind everyone where we're at. So there is room to go either way. We're actually waiting on non-farm payroll, which will be tomorrow morning. So today's unlikely to bust out to the upside extremely in a big way. Could we test lower? Potentially. We'll see what has in the cards for that. But anything that's to the upside would probably be in my opinion, somewhat limited and faded later in the day. So looking at the overnight action, we've got 17 points in the session so far. And if we look at where our level 4s are today, which I don't think either one of them will trade, 36.12 to 37.22 is what we're looking at. And as we zoom, into the action of the day, right? We had some salmon run trades go off yesterday post bell. That is going to be resistance during today's session, and our overnight high is above that. So I think there's a fair chance that we won't even see the overnight high today, and if we do, it'll be the response from the market from that, right? Is that just a fade spot back into today, or can we actually get up towards R2? I think R2 would be the absolute maximum, potential if we do get bullish above the overnight high, which is 74.5. That would be 87 quarter. So looking at all the indexes, near value area high is the Russell, above value area high right at it is the NASDAQ, right around value area high for the ES, and above value area high and right in those prints of the salmon run for the Dow as well. And the NASDAQ actually had some salmon run prints as well. It was just one tick worth, but it really lines up with yesterday's high of the day, one tick over that. So you're looking at, just monitoring yesterday's high for that. So the Russell has been a little bit of a laggard in the last few sessions. We'll see what happens with that. So potentially playing, if you think today's going to be more choppy to down, the Russell might have your number there, right? That might give you the most opportunity if you think today's going to be choppy to down as we're waiting on non-farm payroll today. I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the case. I think more than likely we're going to have a little bit of inside to up in these blue boxes, right? So yesterday's highs are really going to be what's in focus, and we'll see how low we can get that early morning push. I did add some basic support resistance lines. So 57.5 is right where the overnight low ended up being last night. And as we come in, 64 for the ES is my midline, and 71 is right around the top. That one hasn't been too much respected overnight, so keep in mind with these salmon run trades, that one may be a wash level today. So really I would pay more attention to the blue box than the 36.71 today. But the 64 and the 57 have been greatly respected in the overnight session. So I think they're playable ranges and support resistance levels. So looking at the Fibonacci sequences just for the session overnight, it's been a little bit of a chop fest, right? The bears can't get anything going for the most part coming out of that high in the overnight, but neither can the bulls, right? So every time that there is a new low made, there's a sequence that comes up, or it's been broken, a new low's been made, sequence starts up, broken, uh, new low was made, sequence going up. So does this one break and go to a new low as well yet this session? We will find out. So right now that line in the sand is 36.62 quarter, and if this sequence holds above, you're looking at the first target of 72.75, 77 quarter, and 82 quarter. So, or 82 even, I'm sorry. So looking at that, there's not a whole lot of really, it's not going to be with a 17-point overnight range. You're not going to have things flying off the shelves going into you're not going to have a 50-point range today, I don't think, uh, in the ES. Looking at the NASDAQ, it's even choppier, right? Just straight consolidation. The bears have nothing going on. The bulls have nothing going on. This would be the index I would stay away from today unless you're looking at some longer term levels that are below this for a potential long entry, right? No entries inside of the overnight range, right, are going to be substantial unless you're just trying to bat stuff back and forth like a ping pong ball, and that's a losing game. So as we look at the Russell, it looks very similar to the ES, right? Uh, one low, two low, three low, trying to hold a sequence again. That line in the sand is 33.80 up to 18.41, 45, and 48.70 if it holds. If not, you're looking at just breaking down again, which we'll find out if it happens. The bears have absolutely nothing going on for the Russell today. So looking at the ES, this is the major band that I've identified that I think is something to keep uh, watch on. I'm more likely to lean long on pullbacks as long as it stays above this orange box, which is basically the top of it is 36.45, and I'm more likely to lean short after and when it breaks under this, which would be 36.37, right? I'm likely to sell all rallies until it crosses back to the other side. So above it, buy the rallies, right? Buy the dips. Below it, sell the rips. And I think we'll probably be able to use that area for the rest of the year. All right. So looking at the NASDAQ, I've thrown some minor levels up here just so we have some references, right? So 12,457 is the first of those levels. Below that, I've got 12,396.50. Below that, I've got 12,334 quarter. We'll see how these come into play. You could probably end up watching as well 12,307 would be the one I would look, under this as a band more than likely. We got a little extra time, so why don't we go ahead and throw that on the chart. And this would be an above or below area just like the ES was, right? So above this level, I'm more wanting to buy pullbacks. Below this level, I'm more likely to want to sell reps. And I think we can use that probably. We'll have to monitor that one. That's not going to be as an easy read as the ES is, but I think it's something we can use for the next, at least until this contract expires, right? We're going to start rollover next week. Looking at the Russell, it's a little bit more of a right. It's more of a downtrend since it's top, and I talked about it being a little bit weaker, right? So for the Russell, as far as I'm concerned, it is in a slight downtrend, right? So every time that you get uh, below support, right, it turns into resistance. And until that cycle breaks, even though it's just early in the cycle, but you can see, this has been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sessions now so far, right? Until you see it start getting above uh, a resistance level and it becomes supports, I think that you're better off to favor the downside in the Russell, or just leave it alone. And that's why I said today, I think if you're playing choppy to down, if you think that's going to be today's action, I think the Russell is your bet. So looking back at the indexes, putting a little bit of wraps on the thoughts, right? So watch these blue boxes. Watch yesterday's bell high for the NASDAQ, right? You get three above, right? You're a little bit more choppy to down. You get, or I'm sorry, three below, it's a little bit more choppy to down. Three above, it's a little bit more choppy to up, right? So this is likely to be resistance, and consider it resistance right around yesterday's bell highs until proven otherwise. Uh, so I think you're still better off buying dips, right, and selling and just taking some. I think you're more likely to have success buying dips and selling small rips. Don't let it go to profit target. Take it off early. I think you're going to be more successful today, even though it's going to be choppy to down probably in the morning, unless you see it get below these overnight lows, right? If you see three of these indexes get below these overnight lows and stay under there, then you can start playing sequences where you are selling the rips. Until you see that, just play sequences with you're buying the dips. And today's going to be probably a little bit more of a difficult trading day to play the indexes. So there's nothing wrong with waiting till non-farm payroll tomorrow and just playing whatever sets up coming out of that tomorrow morning. So, if you want to, if you think today's going to be harder, either don't play the indexes or cut your size in half, and really don't expect a whole lot, right? Just be very strategic in where you're doing it and pay attention to your risk to reward. I hope this helps you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.